somewhere in the deep corners of America, long before social media amplified every word, there was a whisper. It wasn't a shout. It wasn't a slogan. It was a warning. Stay woke. Stay alert. Stay aware. It was the 1930s and 1940s. In African American communities across the United States, this expression wasn't ideology, nor fashion, nor political identity. It was survival. To be awake meant to remain vigilant in a world that could turn hostile. At any moment, it meant recognizing injustice, reading between the lines, anticipating invisible danger. It was awareness. But words, like symbols, do not remain untouched. They travel, they evolve, they transform. And decades later, that whisper crossed time. In the 21st century, the term woke resurfaced, no longer as a quiet warning, but as a public banner. It became a symbol of social sensitivity, of commitment, of awareness. But something changed, or perhaps something tightened. For some, it represented a necessary moral evolution. For others, it began to feel like growing rigidity, space, where dissent started to carry a cost. And then another phenomenon emerged, what many call cancel culture, a complex dynamic, hard to define, for some accountability, for others immediate punishment. Without nuance, without room for error, the debate intensified. Positions became polarized. What for some was justice, for others was censorship. What for some was progress, for others was imposition. And in the middle of all that noise, the original meaning began to blur, because being awake once meant thinking, questioning, not following blindly, but something deeper started to emerge, a discomfort hard to ignore. What happens when only one way of thinking is considered acceptable? Because every society needs balance. And this leads to a simple question. Can a culture sustain itself if it stops affirming what it is? Europe, for centuries, has built philosophy, art, identity. But today, some perceive a shift, not always visible, but constant, a subtle framework defining what is acceptable and slowly what can be said and what cannot, because there is something deeply human, the need to belong, to continue, to protect what is one's own, not as rejection of others, but as affirmation of oneself. And yet, some feel that this instinct is becoming uncomfortable, that dissent comes with a price, that acceptance sometimes doesn't come from conviction, but from pressure. And so the deeper question emerges. Are we witnessing a natural evolution or something more directed? History shows us that civilizations do not disappear overnight. They transform, they dissolve, or they redefine themselves. But there is an invisible line. When thought stops being free, something breaks, and no society remains the same after that. Perhaps the true meaning of being awake was never about accepting everything without question, but precisely the opposite. To think, to doubt, to question, even what seems unquestionable. Because in the end, every era believes it is moving forward. But not all of them stop to ask where they are going. And do you think this is a natural process? Or that, deep down, nothing is as spontaneous as it seems? If you enjoy learning new things, questioning what surrounds us, and understanding the world from a deeper perspective, this channel is for you. Subscribe and join us on this journey.